Alright, hello everyone, this is Peacoll. I'm doing a 100% walkthrough of Assassin's Creed 1, and this is going to be the tutorial, Solomon's Temple, and the beginning of the Mostia section. And what we're doing here is just, like, Desmond is desynchronizing the Animus because he's trying to access the final memory of the game, and because he's new to the Animus and just got captured by Abstergo, he is desynchronized because he can't handle the Animus and doesn't know what he's going through. So this is just a timed section where we're waiting for dialogue to wait out. So I'm just like running around and doing whatever because I can't really do anything except for wait. And I don't know what happened there. I threw some guy into like the stand and it looked like he went flying or something went flying in the air. I don't know exactly what it was, but something went flying in the air and it was really weird. So I'm just like running around and like grabbing and throwing people because I have nothing else to do during this section until we get to the tutorial. And the tutorial is like it's very slow, and I really it's one of the reasons why I don't really like playing Assassin's Creed 1 all that much again. Because I've replayed it so many times and I just really don't like the tutorial. Not because it's bad, just because I've played this game so many times and it's just like really slow and annoying for me. So we're finally done with this section. While we're going through the tutorial, I just kind of want to talk about like why I'm doing this. I'm already doing a dual commentary of this game with my friend ID, but I felt like doing a single commentary version of this game, and maybe also the rest of the series, just because I wanted to like more properly get my thoughts out on what I think of Assassin's Creed, because this used to be my favorite franchise until I started playing Xenoblade, and now I'm mostly just done with Assassin's Creed because of all the stuff that happened at Ubisoft, and I still want to like hold them accountable, and like I don't support what they're doing, and I don't want to give them any of my money, but like I still love these older games, and I have experience with 100%ing every single one of these games. The only ones I haven't 100%ed are Valhalla, and actually I think Valhalla is the only one I haven't done yet. But Unity, Syndicate, Odyssey, and Valhalla are the ones I haven't done more than once. Every other game I've done at least like 2 or 3 times, maybe even more. But Valhalla is the only one I haven't done at all yet. So like I'm just done with the series at this point. So I'm not even sure if I'll do the rest of the games in the series. I'll probably go up to like at least Revelations, maybe AC4 at the latest. But if I really think of it, if people really want me to, I might go past the later games. Because I still kind of want to like finish up Valhalla, because it kind of bothers me that Valhalla is like the only one that I haven't finished 100% completing yet. So I kind of want to still do that at some point, even though I really don't want to go back to Valhalla because it's a really bad game that I don't like. And I also still feel like I need to play the DLCs for that game, because I haven't even played the Ireland DLC or the Paris DLC yet, because I just don't care and I don't want to buy them. And I know there's another DLC coming because Ubisoft is scummy and wants to just push out games for money. So they're making a third story DLC, even though originally they said they would only make 2. So they have a third one coming, and I might have to play those at some point if I want to do a whole video series on this entire series. So that would be interesting. But yeah, other than that, I still don't really like supporting Ubisoft, even though I really like these old games still. And I mostly just play Xenoblade now. But I think that's enough of that tangent. Uh, what they're doing here right now is just like explaining the lore of like how the Animus works and how memories get passed down through DNA. Which was really interesting lore until they decided to screw it up with like Odyssey and the later games. Because now the later games just treat the Animus as a simulation of history instead of the actual events, which is really dumb and annoying because the Animus is meant to like be a representation of like the true history of like how things really happened, but turning it into a simulation just ruined that, because now they can just basically do anything they want instead of having to be stuck in rigid history, which I think they really started doing with like Syndicate, because I think, as far as I know, Syndicate is like the only game where the main Templars that you kill are like completely fictional characters, because every other game before that, all the main Templars that you kill are based on like real historical figures, and you kill them around the time of their actual like real history deaths. So like they used to like really, instead of using history as a backdrop like they do in the older games, they just push it to the forefront now and just use it as a way to sell their games as like historical playground games instead of like Assassin's Creed social stealth games in an open world, which is kind of annoying because like they just completely broke the lore of the series and don't understand how it works. Yeah, but this is just explaining synchronization, which is another thing they screwed up. Because synchronization used to be like, I mean, it's always still gonna be like your health, but like they don't understand how synchronization like is like shown in the lore now, because it used to be like you synchronize with your ancestor by like doing the memories the exact way that they did them, that like the way they lived them. But now, because they treat the animus like a simulation, you can just kind of do anything you want and you have no consequences, which is like why they don't have full sync objectives anymore, and why in like Odyssey you can completely kill like a town of like civilians and then just pay digital money to no one, and then you're completely fine and no one even cares. So that's like a really dumb thing that I hate. But this is just a tutorial section. We're trying to gentle push through a crowd of people, which is honestly a thing that I never really use. I don't use the gentle push a lot, because every time I play this game, I just run through all the crowds, just because like it's a lot faster. Even if I fall over and get knocked on the ground, I still feel like it's faster than slowly walking and gentle pushing through people. So that's just how I always play this game. Like I probably play these games a lot more riskier because I have a lot of experience of these games and I know what I'm doing. And like I've said, I've 100%ed most of the games at least once and multiple times. So I kind of feel like I have enough experience and knowledge of these games to play a little riskier. But this is just like grabbing and throwing, which is apparently another thing that I don't really use a whole lot. Sometimes I might use it, but I don't really tend to use it that much. And when we were doing the dual commentary for Memory Block 5 with my friend ID, he actually told me that throwing people on the ground actually does damage, which I didn't even know. I didn't know that it did damage. I thought it was just used to like get people into a vulnerable state where you could assassinate them on the ground. So like when I'm doing interrogations in this later in this walkthrough, I might actually try to do that more and actually throw them on the ground, because now that I know it actually does damage. I've been playing this game for like, God, I don't even know, probably at least over 10 years, and like I didn't even know that throwing did damage, so like even now I'm still learning new things about these games. But this is just showing social stealth, where like people looking at you are yellow and people who are suspicious are red, at least in the corner in the UI. Um, yeah, and it says either because I'm playing on PC, because this is the only way I can record AC1, because the only other copy I have is the PS3 version, and I can't really record PS3 games because my capture card does not like PS3. Or actually, PS3 doesn't really like capture cards. It's the other way around. Because for some reason, Sony put in like a built-in capture card blocker on PS3s for some reason, and I don't have a way to bypass that right now, so I can't record PS3 games. So I have my only option to record AC1 is off my PC, which I've already been doing for my dual commentary with ID. But like, And even in the earlier parts, when I was using controller when I was playing on PC for those, but my controller doesn't really like my PC for some reason and keeps disconnecting and reconnecting multiple times, and I don't know what's up with it, so I had to rely on mouse and keyboard for this walkthrough, or for this playthrough. So that's why I'm using mouse and keyboard stuff, which I've done before. I've played AC1 on mouse and keyboard once before, and it wasn't that bad. I just prefer controller because I've always played games on console, so I'm just way more used to console controls rather than a mouse and keyboard. Yeah, we're just like hiding from this person. And I don't know what happens here, but every time I do this, he never fully gets out of the hiding spot. He always gets like stuck on the side. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I don't know what that does. I don't know. That's just a thing with this game where like sometimes you tend to get like stuck in the hide spots whenever you try to exit them. I don't know what causes that to happen. Is at least better than Odyssey where like you can't even hide inside of haystacks because the game forcibly pushes you out of haystacks even when you don't press buttons on the controller. And it's really dumb. I don't even know like why or like how I discovered that. I think I was just playing the game one day and I did a leap of faith into a haystack, and when I was doing the leap of faith, I was looking at my phone. And I didn't have my hands on the controller, so then I looked back at the screen, and Cassandra was just exited the haystack immediately without me touching anything. And I tried to do a special thing here where, if you're fast enough, you can mash the blend button to walk faster and blend, like still be in a blended state, but walk faster at the same time. And it didn't really work, because that's just a consequence of me playing on mouse and keyboard. Like, if I was playing on controller, I could probably mash a lot faster, because you have to mash really fast to do that. But if I was playing on controller, it would probably be a lot easier for me, because when I'm on a controller, I can actually mash pretty quickly. But with mouse and keyboard, it's just like a lot harder for me, because I'm just not used to mouse and keyboard. And my mouse has buttons on the side of it, which I'm using for the empty-handed buttons and the sprint button. So like, I had to like awkwardly mash a button that was on the side of my mouse instead of like a button on my keyboard for that. So that probably also made it a lot harder, and that's probably why I failed it. So because of that, I probably won't be doing that little trick too much. But it's like a little thing that you can do if you want to try it, if you're good at mashing. But like I said, if I was on PS3, I could probably do it a lot better because I could mash like on an actual button on an actual controller. But yeah, here I think they're just explaining the Assassin's Creed, like don't kill innocents, hide in plain sight, and don't compromise the Brotherhood. Which like again, they just like completely forget in the series because Odyssey lets you kill multiple innocent civilians and then pay digital money to no one, and then everyone just forgets about you, and you're not even part of a brotherhood at all. So like the rest of the series just like completely forgets about the creed and acts like it doesn't exist. But yeah, we're finally in the actual real beginning of the game now after the tutorial stuff. And this thing is like a glitch thing. It's not a glitch with the game, they just call it a glitch in-game because of like Animus Technologies words. But like when you see those things pop up on your screen, you can press a button and it gives you like a special camera angle in the cutscenes. Because this is a game from 2007, and they didn't really have like actual cutscenes, so they let you like make your own cutscenes, I guess, with those glitch things where you press a button, it gives you a new camera angle. And I always go for those things, just because like I feel like it makes the cutscenes better to have the actual real camera angles instead of just people standing around talking. Uh, and there's like there's no like real in-game 100% like counter or anything that like keeps track of your stuff. So there's like no way to tell. I don't think they actually account for like 100% completion, but I'm still gonna be doing all of them anyway, just because I feel like it makes the cutscenes flow better with all the like the camera angles. Like if you don't do this one here, you just see him from this angle normally. Like this is the angle you always have unless you do that one glitch there, and it just makes it a lot better once if you do them, which is why I'm gonna be trying to do all of them. And I just do all of them anyway because it's just instinct by this point. Like if I see one, I'm not gonna be skipping it unless I'm bad. Like I'm gonna be actively attempting to hit it just because it's just instinctively to me now. But yeah, we're just gonna have to climb down here and confront the Templars, which will result in us breaking all tenets of the Creed, and Altair will become a novice again and have to climb through the ranks of the Brotherhood to get all his stuff back, which is basically the plot of this game. So we just have to target Robert and then we'll get thrown from this room. And once we get thrown from the room, I actually go back to the wall a little bit because there's some dialogue that you will miss if you don't go back there. Like, it's not that important if you miss it, because it's not, like, required for, like, 100% completion or anything. But I'm the type of person that likes to hear all the dialogue they can when they're playing a game. So if there's any like, dialogue that is missable, even if it's not that much important, I try to go out of my way for it. Just because, like, I like getting that extra lore, even if it's not really that important. And there's two ways, I think there's like at least, there's multiple ways you could go up here, but I just always go up this way because you're already facing this direction when that cutscene ends, so I don't see any other reason to go any other way. So I just climb up this side of it. And then that's gonna be the end of the Solomon Temple area, and then we just have the rest of Masyaf for this video. And I kind of want to talk about Masyaf as an area. I think it's like an interesting area, but like since this game is more open world, I feel like the main cities are the bigger points of this game rather than Masyaf, because there's not really much reason to go back to Masyaf unless you're doing this beginning part of the game or the ending part of the game. So like there's not really much reason to go here, and there's honestly not really much reason to go anywhere in the game after you finish the main story, because there's barely any side content in this game. The only side content that this game has is like flag collections and killing side Templars, which isn't really that interesting, and honestly they don't give you anything because like nothing in any of the Assassin's Creed games gives you anything for 100% completion. But like this game really doesn't have much to it, just because it's an older game from 2007. And the only reason they ever put side content in this game is because like some developer's kid like played the game and thought it was boring that there was no side content, so they put in side content to like try to make it more interesting. But like even the side content is not interesting because it's literally just collecting flags and killing Templars, which you kind of already do in the main game anyway, because some of the informant missions just have you collecting flags, and there's already other informant missions that require you to kill people, and the main like thing of the game is killing people, so there's not really much incentive to just go around to killing more people. And there's also like a lot of them too, like I think 2 of the 3 main cities have 100 flags, and the entire game has 60 Templars. So, like, you're just going around, like, killing all these people and collecting all these flags for no reason. Technically, all the flags and Templars, they do give you more health if you do all of them, but there's not really much a reason to get to just for health, because, like, you can easily finish this game without having too much health because the game is so easy, and, like, just by doing the main story missions, you're gonna get health anyway, just because the game automatically gives you health every time you finish a sequence. And I think, if you just do the main story stuff, you're already gonna have like 13 blocks of health, but if you do all the extra stuff, you get 7 more. But 13 is honestly already enough. Like, there's no reason to have 20. You can easily finish this game with 13, or even less. So, like, just doing the side stuff just for health, it honestly isn't really that much of an incentive. So that's kind of my tangent on, like, the side stuff in this game, which we haven't really got to yet because I'm just, like, doing this main story stuff right now, and I'm gonna do all the side stuff later. Once we finish this memory block 1, I will probably get back to recording this game and do all the Mossiaf flags, because Mossiaf only has 20 flags compared to, like, every other city which have like 100. And then, because Mossiaf is the main home of the Assassins, there's obviously no Templars here, so the only side stuff here is the 20 flags. And then, I'm not sure yet if I want to do the flags whenever I get to the district for each Templar, because there's flags in each district, but I'm not sure if I want to do it district by district, or if I just want to do all the flags at the end of the game. Because whenever I go for 100% in an Assassin's Creed game, I tend to do all the main story stuff first, and then do all the side stuff, like, after I finish the main story. But I feel like it would be better for videos to do side stuff as I'm doing the main story, which is not only how I do it, but I feel like it would make it more interesting for videos, so I'll probably have to think about that once I, like, get back to recording this game. And I could always just use my footage that I've already recorded for my dual commentary with ID, but, like, I feel like that's just lazy, and I kind of want to get new footage just so it's, like, more fresh, because I'm already uploading 2 Assassin's Creed 1 walkthroughs at the exact same time by doing this, so I don't want to just be reusing the same footage, because that would be kind of lazy and dumb, and it would probably allow me to show more stuff. And since I'm going for 100%, I am going to be doing all the investigation missions for each target instead of just the bare minimum that the game requires you to do, which I did in the dual commentary videos. So in this series, you're gonna actually be seeing more of the game. So it would actually be better to, like, use newer footage that I actually record specifically for this. And for this mission, you don't actually have to fight anyone. You can literally just go straight down to the edge of the village. It's all dependent on, like, where you, like, it's all dependent on when you have to go. So, like, as long as you get down here, the mission is just gonna end. So you don't have to actually end up fighting anyone, even though the game wants to do fighting tutorials. And then we're getting to, I believe, the last mission, which is gonna be a Leap of Faith tutorial, and then we're just gonna sneak behind the Templars and spring a trap on them to kill all of them, or at least most of them, so they escape, so they leave us alone. I haven't really talked about much of what I wanted to talk about in this video yet, but I think my plans for 100%ing this series, which I kind of talked about a little bit, but like since Assassin's Creed 1 doesn't really have much stuff, the later games are gonna have a lot more stuff, so those videos will probably be a lot longer and a lot more like thought out. Yeah, so that's like my thought on that. Uh, oh, this is actually something. I think this thing right here is actually based on a historical event, because like I was talking about earlier, Assassin's Creed it used to use history more as a backdrop, and instead of as the forefront to like sell historical games like they do now. So instead of basing the game in history, they based the game around like basing history in a game. They based the history. They based the game in history. So this is a real historical event where like the real life assassins would like leap off of buildings to like prove that they weren't scared of death or like to like put fear into their enemies. So this is a real thing that they would do. I don't think they would actually like survive, because no one would survive this. Like that's scientifically impossible to survive landing in a haystack after jumping off a tower. But like I think the basis of it is based in reality and like based off of real historical fact. But yeah, again, I'm just standing here just for like extra dialogue, because I don't think you would actually hear that dialogue if you don't just stand there and wait. So like I just like getting extra lore here. And there is a flag down here that honestly I probably should have collected while I was here, but like I said, I like doing side stuff after I finish the main story, so I'm gonna have to come back to it later. But also, I'm not even sure if it's like spawned right now. I feel like it might actually spawn later, so I'm not even really sure if it's spawned now. So even if I went to get it now, it probably wouldn't have been a good idea, because that would have been a waste of time. I might have to check that out at some other point. Because you actually can replay missions in this game. Because unlike AC2, or Origins or Odyssey of Valhalla, you can actually replay missions in AC1, and for some reason they took it out of AC2, and then they re-brought it back at Butthurt because of the full sync stuff. And I don't think a lot of people like realized that you can replay missions in AC1 because there's not really much incentive to do it, but you actually can, so that's interesting. But this is just the point where Al-Mualim stabs Altair and like makes him thinks that he died, and I'm not really like sure how he survives this. I've played this game for like probably over 10 years, and I'm not really sure like how Altair survives this and like comes back to life, because this really should kill him here. But like is he using the apple on Altair to like make him see an illusion? But then like otherwise, like wouldn't that contradict at the end of the game when Altair sees through all the illusions? I'm not really sure what happens here, and like how this fits into the lore. But like I'm not even at the stabbing part yet. He's just like getting yelled at for not following the creed. Which honestly, a lot of the future games should get yelled at for not following the creed, because they don't follow the creed at all, and they're barely part of the series. They're literally only part of the series in name, just because Ubisoft wanted to sell a game and used Assassin's Creed as a name to sell it and get more money. Yeah, I don't really want to be like complaining about Ubisoft for this entire series, so I'm gonna need to think of more stuff to talk about. But yeah, I'm not really sure how this scene fits into like the lore, or like what happens to Altair her. Yeah. And I feel like it's also interesting that MLM only has one eye, and you like almost never get to see it because you almost never see him up close except for like this scene and like the scene where you kill him. So like that's interesting, like character modeling on like that's like work that you will never get, almost never get to see in game because you almost never see his face up close. But yeah, Altair gets stabbed now, and he should be dead. I don't know how he's not. But now we get kicked out of the Animus because the game needs to get lengthened and have the modern day stuff. And I should probably talk about some of the modern day stuff because that's another thing that the series ruined, and it's just like really bad nowadays. Honestly, I'm not even sure why they still have modern day because they're not even trying. But they're also not really trying with the main Animus parts of the game anyway in the modern games. But like the modern day used to be like one of the main selling parts of Assassin's Creed because everyone wanted to know like what Desmond was gonna do next. And now Desmond is dead, and we don't even have Layla anymore because now Layla is dead. Or like reading time in the gray or whatever happened in Valhalla's ending that I don't really understand. And like it really seems like in the next game, because I know we're getting a next game because it's Ubisoft, it really seems like Basim is going to be the next modern day protagonist for some reason, because it's who we play as now in the modern day Valhalla after the end of the game. And like I'm not really sure how I feel about that because I really don't. It's not that I didn't like Basim as a character, but like once he got revealed as Loki and like basically killed Layla and Eivor, well not Eivor, but like fought Eivor, I really didn't like him that much, and like I felt like extremely betrayed by him because I actually liked him as an assassin because he was like the first real assassin like character that we had in the series for years up until that point. So I actually liked him and then felt betrayed by him when he did that. And I'm not really sure how assassin like he's gonna be in the future games if we still get to play as him. And I don't even know if he'll still be the protagonist of the modern day because like Ubisoft might do stupid things and like do like a whole bunch of comics or books with him as the protagonist, and then in the next game we're gonna have another random protagonist that's not gonna be explained or known about unless you read the comics or books, which is a thing that they do nowadays because they put random plot points in the books that are actually important to the lore, but then no one reads the books, so like no one understands what's happening anymore, which is why I miss when like it was just the games and nothing else. Like like if Assassin's Creed wasn't a multimedia franchise, it would be so much better because all the important things that you need to actually know for the lore would actually be in the main media of the franchise, and you would actually know and you would actually know and understand because you would just be following the games and it would be the only thing that existed. So if they actually put all the main stuff in the games, which is the main media of the series, then it would be a lot better because you would actually understand it and you would actually know what's happening. Instead of having stupid things like Juno killed in the comic that no one's gonna ever read, or like these weird like prequel books that they do, where like they do a book based around the new character for the new game, but they make it a prequel and they give us stories about them that happen before the events of the game that they're in. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm probably gonna have to pause on this tangent now because we have like less than 2 minutes left in the video. So yeah, this is like we're talking to Lucy and like explaining how Desmond got found by Abstergo, because he ran away from where he lived and didn't contact anyone and had like no no money and like no contact with anyone in the outside world, and got caught just because he had fingerprint and a photo from a driver's license or motorcycle license. And like that one thing is what ended up getting him caught after like 20 years or something. But yeah, I'm gonna have to pause it now because we have like 1 minute left in the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed whatever this was, and hopefully I'll have better tangents in the next videos. And then we'll be able to actually explore Abstergo in the next videos and read all the special emails. Oh, I also forgot I'm showing this here. You can walk into the shower for some reason, even though it does nothing, and it freaks your camera out every time you do it. But yeah, that's it for this video, and yeah, hope you enjoyed.